Okay guys, so I'm gonna be behind the camera today, but we're making dinner. We have this piece of pork loin. If you saw my other if you saw my other pork loin video, this is the same pork. Not that that matters, but I talked to Billy, because he usually does the cooking around here, if you didn't know. He said this fat should be fine, so I don't have to do any real prep on this. We're just gonna do a dry rub. Oh, I'm making my own recipe today, by the way, guys. And if you did see my other pork loin video, I had this leftover spice mixture because, like I mentioned in that video, that recipe I was using was for, I think, a whole pork loin, and I was only using a part of it. So I put a little post-it note on here, and a reminder to sniff, because this is a little bit old. It's probably fine. There was a little bit of moisture in the jar. You guys don't care. Anyway, so we're gonna do a dry rub with this spice mixture, and I think this is just chili powder, onion powder, garlic powder, so I'm probably gonna add some smoked paprika and I think a little bit of Mexican oregano. We used that in the carnitas video and it was really tasty. So for my first step, I feel like a magician, we're gonna just take the pork out. Try not to get all the blood in the bowl or Dutch oven. And we're gonna give this a couple of pats with some paper towel so that it's not so goopy. Okay guys, so I just gave this a nice pat with the paper towels. I think I went a little overboard because I started getting little paper bits stuck to the meat. So I'm done with the pat dry, and now we're going to pour our seasoning on to the meat. Oh, I should probably sniff this, huh? It smells fine. So yeah, I'm gonna use my clean hand to sprinkle on the seasoning. Ooh, that's a lot. And I'll use my pork hand to rub it in. A lot of spice here. Ooh, it smells good, you guys. Wow, that's a lot of spice. What was I doing? I didn't even use that paprika yet, and I feel like maybe I don't need to. Wow, you guys, I did a little bit too much. But hey, you probably can't over season, right? That's a lot of seasoning. Wow. I really hope I didn't just do a stupid thing, but it can fall off. And we're gonna add broth. All right, so now I am going to add a little bit of oil around the pork, and then we're gonna just put it on the stovetop and try to brown every side. So I'll show you guys how we're doing that. All right guys, so I'm gonna add some avocado oil, just so we have something to brown it on. I really put way too many spices. And I'm gonna turn on my flame to like a medium high, and I'm going to just brown every side as best as I can. It's a little tough to see because of the spices, so we're gonna do our best to avoid making anything smoke here. So I'll see you guys after I finish browning. All right guys, so I just finished browning. I think I got every side. My spices are starting to smoke here, and I didn't want to add more oil, so I turned off the flame. We're gonna add a little bit now of this Mexican oregano. Is that backwards? I'm not sure. I will have this linked in the description because we had to buy this on Amazon, but it is great. So I just want to add, I'm gonna eyeball it. We know how well that goes. This is actually not coming out that easily. Maybe I'll measure it. Okay, I'm just gonna do about 1 teaspoon of the Mexican oregano because this stuff is kind of potent. It's really good though. And I'm gonna crush it in my hand. I don't know what that does, but the carnitas recipe we used said to do that, and it was really good. And I know I'm only like doing one side right now. I'm gonna be adding some broth and some liquid, so everything's gonna really disperse anyway, but I will really quickly just add a little bit more spice, to every side of the pork. Let's just try to lift this. A little more seasoning on the top. Oops. And here. Trying not to scrape up my ceramic coating with these tongs. They're definitely not the right tool for this Dutch oven, but I forgot to buy bamboo tongs and I'm not into silicone. Okay, I'm gonna say that's good enough. We still have a ton of spices left over, so I'm gonna have to figure out something to do with these, but if this recipe is even remotely good, I can kind of duplicate it. All right, so now I have 2 cups of beef broth that I just quickly made off camera, and we're gonna try to rinse off these tongs with it, but really it's for the pork to cook in. And see how that just rinsed everything off the top of the meat? So it kind of doesn't matter where you put the spices because it's gonna fall apart anyway. Ooh, got some leftover stuff in there. Now we're not done yet. I'm gonna add 1/4 cup of my apple cider vinegar. Oh, we're just washing all the spices right off. And I want to do a little splash, just a little bit of this sauce that I can't pronounce. I call it W sauce. I just want to make sure that this pork isn't bland. And since my seasoning's rinsed off, I'm just gonna add a little more on top. No one has to know. What's the worst that could happen? So we're gonna let the pork cook in all this liquid, and we'll pull it in the liquid, but obviously like we're gonna serve it with a slotted spoon. So a lot of this, it shouldn't be like too spicy, hopefully. But anyway, I am going to preset my oven. I'm gonna preset my oven to 350, and once it's ready, we're gonna put this in there with the lid on and let it cook for probably 3 hours, but I'll check it at 2.5. So it's been 2.5 hours. I just pulled out the meat because, like I mentioned before, I want to check it, see if it's cooked, and if it is, I'm gonna pull it in the juices and then let it cook another half hour. So anyway, let's go for the big reveal. Ooh, hello. That smells good. I do want to mention to you guys, as this started to cook and I could smell it, it smelled a little weird to me, and I realize now that's because I put too much apple cider vinegar. Maybe I'm already getting roasted in the comment section for that, but I probably should have just done maybe 1 or 2 tablespoons and not 1/4 cup. So I learned from that mistake, and it smelled very vinegar forward. So I just quickly Googled how to balance out the flavors and kind of counteract the excess vinegar. And what I read was that you want some fats, maybe oil, or I also read that you can use onion. So what I decided to do is kind of none of that. I added 2 more cups of beef broth, and then I also added a big glob of my grass-fed butter. I would say it was maybe like slightly over a tablespoon, just so that that salt and I guess fat could balance out the vinegar taste. Anyway, let's take our forks now. Oh yeah, this is coming apart nicely. I'll admit it's not as tender as that shoulder that we made, but that's kind of typical with a pork loin. So it is pulling apart. I'm happy about that. I'm trying to do this without accidentally touching the pot and burning myself. Woo! And then we're gonna submerge all the meat into the juices, and we're just gonna give it another half an hour so that it can really soak up all the flavor. And guys, it smells good. I'm really happy because it wasn't smelling so good at one point there, and I was worried that we weren't even gonna be able to eat this. Anyway, I'm going to throw it back in the oven, and then I will show you guys when we're ready to taste this. We'll do our taste test together. Okay, you guys, I just almost recorded in slow-mo, but we're good. So Billy is not eating with me tonight, unfortunately. He's not feeling that great. He's got some heartburn, so he figured this might not agree with him. But don't say it. He doesn't feel sick because of my cooking. Don't even start suggesting that. So anyway, I have built myself this very messy, unappealing taco. We've got our pork. I've got some slices of pepper jack because when it's just me, I'm not gonna get the cheese grater out. So this was very messily sliced. Some cilantro that I really didn't chop, but whatever, that's what my teeth are for. And a little bit of avocado. I'm not sure if I already said that. I've got my chipotle hot sauce here because I usually like to eat this on my Mexican food, but we wanna try the pork mostly for what it is. So I'm gonna have to pick this up, take a bite, and then put it down and let you know what I think. Oh, but I do wanna mention, it smells really good. All right, so I had my first bite. Believe it or not, guys, even with all those spices and everything that I used, this is not overwhelming at all. It's actually kind of mild. I think because it's a pork loin and that's just what you get. So it's pretty good. I just added a little bit of that chipotle hot sauce, so now I want to try it with that. I would give this a B. I think I'd give it a B so far. So not a B plus, not a B minus, just a B. Because believe it or not, it's still kind of bland. I know, right? Like I used so much stuff. I'm surprised, but it's a little bit bland. Maybe I could have pulled it more. It's not bad at all. It's just nowhere near as good as the carnitas that we made. If you haven't seen that video yet, you need to check it out because it was really good. But I'm gonna try this and I'll let you know what I think with the hot sauce. 10 out of 10. Not as good as the carnitas, so okay, maybe 9 out of 10, but this is really good. If you want to follow along and make this or tweak it, I don't think I did a terrible job. Is this like weird to look at? I don't know. Maybe I'll change the screen to black. Anyway, I'm gonna give this recipe a B. I'm proud of myself. I'm learning as I go. If you want to watch me continue to learn to cook, then make sure you subscribe. I hope you enjoyed this video too. Maybe give me a thumbs up, and I will see you in the next one.